Hello, my name is Emma, and in today's video, I am going to teach you about some mistakes a lot of students make. So I've been teaching English for about 5 years now, and the mistakes I'm going to teach you today, I've seen students make many times in both their speaking as well as their writing. Okay, so these mistakes are mistakes students make when they're talking about people. So I'm going to give some examples of some of these mistakes. The first one I want to show you. Some Canadian people hate winter. It's true. I'm one of those people. I hate winter. So some Canadian people hate winter. There's a mistake here. I want you to take a moment and look and try to think, what could the mistake be? Some Canadian people hate winter. I'll give you a hint. The mistake is somewhere here. If you thought people is the mistake, you're correct. Canadian people, it's redundant. We don't need the word people because Canadian, if we add an S here, this means Canadian people. Okay, so instead of saying Canadian people, we would say Canadians. Some Canadians hate winter. It's the same if we wanted to talk about Americans. We would not say some American people hate winter. We would prefer to say some Americans, with an S, hate winter. So let's look at another example. Many Brazilian people are learning English. So there's a mistake here. What's the mistake? Many Brazilian people are learning English. If you said the mistake was people, you're correct. When we're talking about nationalities, we do not use the word people. So what can we do to fix this? We can get rid of the word people. And what can we do to the word Brazilian? Because there's more than one, we can add an S. So now it's many Brazilians are learning English. Okay? So I'm going to give you another example, this time not on the board, but I'm just going to say it. Many Asian people like spicy food. Many Asian people like spicy food. Now, how would you fix this sentence? If you said many Asians like spicy food, you'd be correct. So when we talk about nationalities, we do not need this word. This word is a waste of space. We just need the nationality with an S. So I have another common mistake students make over here. Muslim people. So Muslim is a religion, okay? Muslim people fast. Fast means they don't eat during Ramadan. Muslim people fast during Ramadan. It means Muslim people do not eat during their holy month, the religious month of Ramadan. So there's a mistake here. What do you think the mistake is? If you said just like this, people is the mistake, you're correct. When we talk about religion and we're talking about Muslims, Christians, Jews, Hindus, you don't need the word people. We could just change this to Muslims. So Muslim here means all Muslims, it's like Muslim people, but we don't need the word people. Here's another example. Christian people celebrate Easter. Christian people celebrate Easter. How can we fix this sentence? We can get rid of the word people and just add an S. We can do the same thing for Hindus. Hindus are often vegetarian, we could say. Many Jews live in Israel. Many Buddhists live in Asia. Okay? So instead of saying Jewish people, Hindu people, it's easier just to say Hindu with an S or Jews with an S. All right, so let's look at some other common mistakes students make. Okay, so another mistake I often see students make in their writing especially, and also sometimes in their speaking, is with most, some, and a lot when they're using these words with people, okay? So the first example, most of people have cell phones these days. I see students use most of people a lot in their essays. So what's the mistake here? I'll give you a minute to think about it. Most of people. The problem here is of, okay? We don't need of. Of is incorrect here. We would just say most people. Most people have cell phones these days, okay? Most people love Chinese food. Most people like to play sports. You don't need of. If you had most of the people, that would be okay, but you need the here. Although that's not as common, that actually gets a little bit more into complicated grammar. So the easy rule, okay, the easy rule is just don't use of most people, okay? What about the next one? Some of people enjoy watching movies. Some of people like going shopping. What's the mistake here? If you said of is the mistake, again, you're right. It's just like most of. We don't say some of. We say some people. Some people stay up really late. Some people enjoy learning English, okay? So a lot of people enjoy learning English, I guess. Okay, so again, of is the problem. Now here's where it gets a little bit strange. So we have the rule, most people, some people. Can we say a lot people? A lot people study English? No, that would be incorrect. With the word a lot, you do need the word of. Okay, so that's why it's a little bit challenging, because for most, we don't need it. For some, we don't need it. But for a lot, we do need it. A lot of people study English. A lot of people like listening to music. Okay? So when you're writing, be very careful with this. I want you to always look at your writing, double check it, and make sure you don't have of after most or some, and you do have of after a lot. Okay? So let's look at another common mistake I see. Okay, so another common mistake I see students make is with the words every people, everybody, everyone, all people, all person. Okay, these are a lot of common mistakes I hear. So let's look at some of them so you can see what I'm talking about. The first sentence, every people should get an education. Is this sentence okay? Every people should get an education. If you think it's not okay, and of course, if it's on this board, it probably is a mistake, why do you think it's a mistake? The issue here is with the words every and people. These words don't go together, okay? What we could say instead of every people, we can use the words everybody. Or we can also use the words everyone. So we can say, right, this is a bit better, everyone. Or every person, okay? So every should go with a singular, like everybody, everyone, every person should get an education. But we don't usually say every people, okay? Another example of a mistake, all person need water to survive. So take a moment and think about, what do you think the mistake here is? All person need water to survive. Okay, this is the opposite mistake of this. When we have the word all, and we're talking about people, we usually don't use the word person. We use the word people. Okay, so you can imagine this like a couple, okay? Every is the boyfriend, buddy is the girlfriend, okay? Or everyone, okay? These two go together. Similarly down here, All person never go together. We have all as one. People. Okay? So it's just memorizing which words go with which words. All people need water to survive. All people need to breathe. Okay? All people should have their rights respected. Okay, so just some examples. Okay, here's another example of a mistake a lot of students make. People likes my cooking. Okay, so what's the mistake here? Well, one mistake is nobody likes my cooking. Okay, so that's the first one. People don't like my cooking. But the grammar mistake is with the verb likes. A lot of students, when they see people, they think, people, it's many, so they like to add an S here. It shouldn't be that way. It should actually just be people like, okay? So it's kind of like they like, people like. So imagine people as they. The subject-verb agreement should be without an S. People need to eat. People like shopping. People play sports. So if you use the word people, there's no S on the verb. Okay, and then the final mistake I see a lot. Everybody like my cooking. What's the mistake here? Okay, so it's similar to what the mistake is here. Everybody, in this case, we need an S because of subject-verb agreement. Everybody likes my cooking. Okay, so everybody, you always need an S on the verb if you're talking like in the present, whereas for people, there is no S. So be very, very careful with these different mistakes. Again, it's really important to think about which words every goes with, which ones all go with, that people never has an S, and that everybody does have an S. Okay, so check your own writing. I really encourage that. If you're writing essays, if you're writing some sort of something for your teacher, it's always good to take a minute and look for these specific mistakes because many, many students make these mistakes. So just take a moment to check your work and make sure you're not making these mistakes. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I also hope you come visit our website at www.engvid.com. There you can see a lot more videos on all sorts of things, from vocabulary to grammar to pronunciation. I also hope you subscribe to my channel. And until next time, take care.